A bustling city in the center of Northern California, San Francisco is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the United States, at least prior to the pandemic. When the sun sets beyond the Pacific Ocean upon this bustling city, a darker and more mysterious side appears. Here are 3 unsolved mysteries from San Francisco. One of the most LGBTQ+ inclusive cities in the world, San Francisco has a proud history of pride that ranges back to the 1920s and 30s, and has even been referred to as the gay capital of the world. Beneath its history of pride lurks the story of one of the most mysterious serial killers of all time, the Black Doodler. On January 27, 1974, the upward-facing body of Gerald Earl Kavanaugh was found in Ocean Beach. Kavanaugh was fully clothed, had over $21 in his pocket, had a Timex, and contained a wound on his left hand. From 1974 to 1975, corpses were found across San Francisco. Following Kavanaugh's murder, there was the discovery of Joseph J. Stevens' body near Spreckles Lake in Golden Gate Park, a popular worker at a club known as Finocchio's. Following after was the discovery of Klaus A. Christmans in Lincoln Way, a Michelin employee, and later Frederick Elmer Kappen, who was found behind a sand dune between Vicente and Ulloa. The discovery of Kappen's corpse marked the Doodler's first known murder in 1975. Although it was difficult to determine the Doodler's exact number of victims, with estimates rising up to 14 due to the simultaneous rise in gay murders, the 5th confirmed victim was Harold Goldberg, who was killed at the age of 66. He was found in the Lincoln Park golf course with unzipped pants and without undergarments. His body was already broken down by flies as he was left there to deteriorate for 2 weeks. Due to fears of being outed at a time where gay discrimination was still prevalent, many witnesses were not willing to come forward to speak to police about the murders. However, what is known was that the killer operated in bars in the Castro neighborhood. From reports, the killer was noted to be an African-American man at the age of 19 to 23 who stood from a range of 5'10" to 6 feet tall and was lanky. He also had a habit of sketching the victims he met at bars to then lure them to a secluded area, hence why he was dubbed the Black Doodler. One of the survivors of the Black Doodler included an unnamed European diplomat who fought off the Doodler after being lured into an apartment in Market Street and was stabbed 6 times. The Doodler was also known to have been angry at his own homosexuality, as expressed by his remarks when attacking the diplomat. Although suspects have been questioned, there has been no conclusive answer to the identity of the Doodler. There may also have been more unreported killings carried out by the Doodler in San Francisco and beyond. To this day, the case remains unsolved. However, with the rise of DNA identification technology and new leads, there may be a chance that the Doodler will be brought to justice. You find yourself lost in the middle of nowhere, and you try to wave down a passing car. Fortunately, the car stops in front of you, and the driver unlocks his doors with a smile. You quickly get in and then drive off into the night. Little do you know that this could be your last ride. From 1972 and 1973, various female hitchhikers were found dead across routes in Sonoma County and Santa Rosa within the North Bay region of California. On the afternoon of March 6, 1972, a pair of motorcyclists spotted what appeared to be a mannequin in a creek near Santa Rosa. It wasn't a mannequin. It was the body of 19-year-old Kim Wendy Allen, a Santa Rosa junior college student. After an autopsy, Allen was found to have been strangled to death and was also raped. Although Allen was the first to be discovered, the hitchhikers' first victims were actually a pair of middle school students, Maureen Sterling and Yvonne Weber, who were returning home from an ice rink trip. Their corpses were discovered in the December of 72. Throughout 1972 and 73, the remains of young girls ranging from the ages of 13 and 23 were found. Those included Lori Lee Cursa, Carolyn Davis, Teresa Walsh, and an unidentified victim who had been potentially identified as Jeanette Camahil. A majority of the victims were runaways or Santa Rosa Junior College students. Additionally, most of the victims had similar stories. All were female hitchhikers, and most were killed by some sort of asphyxiation and were sexually assaulted. Although the FBI has linked multiple other murders to the Santa Rosa hitchhiker killer, the 7 previously mentioned were the victims confirmed. The case was incredibly perplexing, with limited evidence leading to multiple unusual theories. The Sonoma County Police linked the killings to another infamous serial killer who was active at the time, the Zodiac Killer. Coincidentally, a potential suspect for the Zodiac Killer, Arthur Lee Allen, lived around Santa Rosa, where most of the corpses were found at the time after he lost his job at Sonoma State. However, Allen was ultimately cleared on charges of being the Zodiac Killer after DNA tests, making this theory seem more unlikely. Another notorious serial killer, Ted Bundy, was also a suspect. However, this theory was disproven by the fact that Bundy was found to have been in the state of Washington at the time of the murders. Frederick Manley, a Santa Rosa Junior College teacher, and the pair of Hillside Stranglers of Los Angeles were also suspects, but not one single suspect has been confirmed to have carried out the murders. The case remains open to this day. I suggest that you should be more careful the next time you hop into a stranger's car. After all, it might even be your last ride. In the 1980s, in efforts to find missing children in the United States, missing ads would be printed onto milk cartons carried out under the National Child Safety Council. One of the first of these children printed on the ads was Kevin Andrew Collins. Kevin Collins was described as a shy 4th grader who was dyslexic. Collins attended the St. Agnes School in the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood of San Francisco. Collins lived a fairly normal life with his large family, but that would change on February 10, 1984. After leaving basketball practice early, sometime between 6:10 to 6:30 p.m., Collins never came home. He was last seen at around 7:55 p.m., waiting for the 43 bus on Oak Street and Masonic Avenue. According to witness reports, he was talking to a long-haired blonde man with a black dog. After Collins' disappearance, his family searched across the neighborhood for him, only to turn up with nothing. The disappearance quickly gained national attention, leading to Collins' face being plastered on billboards, flyers, posters, newspapers, and milk cartons. Missing posters for Kevin Collins even appear in the backdrops of movies such as The Terminator and A Nightmare on Elm Street. Despite this widespread national attention, Kevin Collins was still missing. Due to the stress brought on by the disappearance, the Collins divorced. Ever since the 1980s, the case has gone cold with but a few leads. In 2005, an identity thief attempted to use Kevin Andrew Collins as a false name to obtain a passport and pled guilty shortly after he was caught. In 2013, police searched for the remains around the street of the disappearance, but the remains were found to have belonged to those of an animal. In the same year, the San Francisco Police Department traced the crime to Wayne Jackson, a convicted sex offender who lived near Kevin's school at the time. It was also noted that Jackson had a dog, much like the one described from the man who Kevin was last seen talking to, making Jackson seem like a more likely suspect. However, Jackson has been dead since 2008, and attempts to contact Jackson's partner have failed to yield anything. Since then, this case has gone cold. Here's a picture of what Kevin Collins would look like today, and if you have any information, then please contact the number on screen. Hey, what's up guys, it's Beyonder here, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Apologies for taking yet another hiatus. I promise I will post more consistently, and I hope you guys don't disappear from my next video. Remember, always go beyond the darkness.